Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolors. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Welcome back everyone to Painting Watercolors with me, Colin. I'm going to do a winter scene for this one. I've just stretched the paper, which is just wetting it both sides and allowing it to soak and stretch. And I'm just drying off the middle parts of the ground there because I want to not have the sky spread too far down. I'm going to drop some weak Naples yellow in, bring it across the sky around this little, it's not a farmhouse, it's a little barn, and a little weak raw sienna. A little bit of it over here. A little touch of alizarin crimson in. A little bit stronger because this will dry really light. And into the top of that I'm just going to take some French ultramarine, a touch of sepia. I'll give you a run round of the colours: Naples yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, ultramarine and sepia. Just a touch of crimson into that. I just want to grey it but leave it almost on a violet blue side, greyed, and I'm going to put this in the top. It's a nice colour. Put some in this bottom half here. Leaving some white. I'll put the path in later. And I want to mix a stronger colour up for some clouds. So less water, more paint. I will leave some suggestions at the end of the video for other ones I've made for YouTube. So that's just sepia, French ultramarine, alizarin crimson, and I'm just making a very grey violet. And I'm just going to let this dry off till it's gone a little bit like velvet because I don't want this to spread too far. You see how the shine is just beginning to disappear off the paper? That tells you that the paint is starting to fix to the paper and the water has evaporated off, and that will slow down the spread of your paint, which is what I want to do. So I'm just going to check it for spread this, and we're going to put some clouds in. Taking that colour, bring it across halfway over the page, and I've still got spread on it, but it's not exploding everywhere, which is what I don't want it to do. And the two stringy ones in here. Just pulling this through the damp paint. Don't play with it too long, just a little more. This is just pure paint now. Maybe just one or two darker spots. Just helps focus your eye in. I want to let that dry. Now that your sky's dry, I'm just re-wetting this hill in the background, bringing it down to here, taking some of the sky mixture. I might even make it just a little bit different. I don't want these to be too strong. I've set the board at an angle, clipped the paper to the board with crocodile clips. This you can use over and over again. And I want to give the impression that there are some evergreens on this big hill at the back. So I'm just using the tip of the brush and pulling it into the water. And as the paint comes off the brush, you should get paler and paler. And the paint will drift through the water. Don't play with it at this moment in time. And if you use the crocodile clips, or the bulldog clips, I don't know what you want to call them, you can leave the paper clip to the board and let it dry naturally, and it will not cockle or fold and will dry completely flat. Bringing it down to the house, and then you can pull it. Just add a little bit more blue to that. Just stroke that in. Just gives the impression of which way the land is falling, the hills. Then I'm just going to take any excess moisture off the hill at the bottom. Wiping some paint off the hill. This will leave light and dark areas for you. Come round to this one. Down to the house, the barn kind of thing. Re-wet it, a little bit more blue. I'll run this along the bottom, pull it back. Mix up a little bit more colour. I'm going to put some bushes on this one just to make it slightly different. So I'm taking a small mop brush, very tiny one, you can see, and I'm breaking the tips open. And I want to pick up some of this paint on the tips, just make sure there's not too much paint on it. There will be some trees here, so it doesn't matter about this bit here. It's just an impression. Pull a couple out that are larger. Just think of the shape that you want and put it in. And I just want to add a little bit more brown to that just to make it a little darker. Just touch some of that in along the bottom just to give it a little different colour and a little bit darker, and let it run into the other paint. End up with a shadow. Then before we do this one, we have to let that dry. I'm just going to re-wet this hill here. I have put the house in. It was just, well, put the barn in. It was just raw sienna with a couple of drops of alizarin crimson in it. It didn't miss anything. Add a bit more blue to this colour. Don't want this too strong, so I'm going to add a little bit of water to it. Just pull streaks of it back into this hillside, just giving general indications of snow and snow shadow. Mix that in with the same colour, maybe just a little stronger. Some one with the brush. Once again, I'm going to make these slightly taller and just pull these into the water. Start above the waterline and just pull them in. Have them all different heights. There's the taller ones here. Add a little detail to these as they are a little bit closer. It's just massed trees. This will register on the eye. And I'm just using the tip of the brush, and I'm leaving the tops of the trees so you can see them. Maybe there's a bit of bushes here going into the distance. And I'm not even thinking about this, I'm just putting marks on. See? Adding a little bit more sepia to that, a little more blue. Hopefully we've got a little darker colour. Just adding a little bit of shadow to some of this. Just take a damp brush. Just pour some of this down in the direction that the land is flowing. I want to re-wet the path or the farm track. Add some blue to this, a little bit of crimson. Then brush and just soften that in a little bit, leaving it white there. Just one or two darker spots just to break it up. As it's a path, it might be just a little bit muckier than the rest. Once again, I'm going to mix up a little more colour. Making this quite dark. Then with that, I just want to put the tops of these trees in. Then with my little mop brush again, still damp. Attempting to leave gaps between the where you're dropping the paint on with the tips, just so you can see the field behind it. Maybe there's the odd bush here. A fence there, I think we'll bring a little bush in here. Pulling a little into the field, not much. It's a little bit wet that, so we might let that dry. Take a damp brush and just soften the bottoms off into the painting. Just adding a little shape to it. Then I want to take some French ultramarine again. Just a little bit of sepia, pull it to the brown side, and we'll add some roots. Soften some of this in. Putting the doorway in, be a little shadow on this building. Soften this in. And add some fence posts. Okay, I've let that dry and I've just put that bush back in. This stops it running. And what I want to do is just add a tiny bit of a grey blue just to the top of this. Run it along that edge there. just for some snow, and I just want to pull a little bit of it back, soften it in, leaving some white on the roof. And I just want to pull one or two grasses out of this mud. Just the odd thing here. Perhaps would like a farm gate. And maybe I'd just like to edge out this roof here. Just a little bit. A couple of birds in the sky. And this is where you get to sign it, put a map around it and frame it. I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, please click the like button and consider subscribing. Please feel free to leave a comment. As I've said before, this is only a suggested colour palette. Please feel free to use your own. So until next time, thank you very much for watching.